Rising.
Welcome to, I think it's the 13th show of the Coffee Diaries. It's been a pleasure, Ade. How's your life?
Good. A little tired this morning.
But that's to be expected after reading War and Peace and whatever masterpiece you have in your room.
Yeah.
Ade's an avid reader.
Yeah, I got through a few pages. Grand Rising, Eleonora. So good to have you here today.
It's so good to be here. I'm so excited. I'm really, really happy to be here and to have this chat with you.
Yeah.
Grand Rising, Eleonora.
Rising, run.
It's been a while, Eleonora. I think we spoke about this maybe a month ago, 2 months ago. So we had to work out times, between New York, Italy, here to see how we were going to do it. But today, finally, it's worked out. So thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It's nice. It's really, really nice to be part of this.
And what's great for today, this is the first time that we're having people on the show while we're speaking. Ade, how did that work out?
It's working out pretty good. So we have a live audience on Facebook and on Zoom. So everyone on Zoom is keeping their camera and mics off, and so far it's working. And this is really good because they can ask questions in the chat as well. So it's another way for people to join.
Yeah, wonderful.
And I must thank Eleonora for one thing. Behind me, I have I put a plant and some dressing because I was told that my background was looking a bit plain. So I thought I would brighten up. Ade always has he's got a little Buddha or a plant. And today he's got his Buddha today. I thought I'd have something. Normally I have the bare walls.
Yeah, this was a last-minute decision. So, let's let people know. Ron, by the way, I really like your shirt. What?
Oh, really? Oh, sorry. Yes, Ade. I like your shirt, Ade. Where did you get it from? It's such a cool shirt. And what does it say?
It's I don't know if it's flipped on the screen, but it's the Coffee Diaries shirt that we're wearing.
The Coffee Diaries shirt.
Yeah. So these are. Can you tell us what the logo, like what the symbolism is there?
Okay, so we have the hands outside, the joining together of all of us, and then we have in the middle an idea and a concept that Ade and I have been speaking about a lot, which is the box, and it's about stepping out of the box. Maybe looking at things in a new way from a different perspective. And one of the ideas of the show was that we were trying to speak to people, look at our own ideas and our own beliefs and see what comes up. And the idea behind it is looking at the box and see if we can see things in a fresh and new way.
Yeah. And the ease. The backwards ease.
Oh, can you remind us? Yeah.
There's 3 E's that are flipped. Here's 2 other ones. So that's 3, 3, 3.
Oh, yeah. So this comes down to Nikola Tesla saying, if you understand the mysteries of 3, 6, and 9, you understand the mysteries of the universe.
Yeah.
And Ade and I are exploring this deep. We're going deep into the mysteries of quantum physics, trying to understand the nature of reality. And we're just beginning.
Yeah, yeah. And these will be going on sale soon at a discount price.
Are we discounting already, Ade?
Yeah, you always start with the discount. I mean, it'll be the normal price, but you just tell them it's the discount price.
Yeah, so if you would like to, I mean, so they're going to be going on sale at somewhere, maybe not near you, but somewhere close. So if you would like to get one of these T-shirts designed by Ade, please let him know, and we will see
Yeah.
what we can do.
So let's get right into the Eleonora story, which I'm eager to hear. Eleonora, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, a little bit about your background and what you do.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I would like to start from my birth, actually, because I think that's where it starts for everybody. But I think for me, it was a great message at my birth, and only recently I started to put everything together. So if I look back in my life, there has been times where in the past, not now, I've been a little bit wondering, you know, there's been always so much suffering. There is always so much going on, and sometimes I've been really thinking like there must be a reason for it. So to go back to what I was saying, so basically, at the moment I was coming into this life, there was a great trauma for me because the doctor pulled me from my arm out of my mom's, and by doing that, it really damaged my whole left arm, and I wasn't the only one at that time. There was a doctor that it was, I'm not sure, lazy. It was actually after it was actually radiated from the, from being a doctor, because it did this. I come from a very small village in Italy, and it did this for five little babies. And what happened at that time was that the option the doctor were giving to my parents and these other parents, or these other 5 kids, was to have an operation and trying to save some of the ligaments, some of the muscles of the arm, because otherwise there would be, the impact for a baby pulling by arm, it would be so strong that there would be no way that there would be any normal functioning of the arm. And so back then, the other 5 parents decided to go for surgery. My mom decided not to go for surgery. Obviously, she was a very intuitive person herself. And she took me to this, there was this blind man in the village, these old villages which you have, all these wise people, and they were using natural remedy. And this man was completely blind, but he had a gift of fixing people, let's say. He would do massage, he would just do anything to help people who had some sort of physical problems. And basically, the arm that you see now, I'm able to move it. It's a miracle. I'm able to move it. There are things that I cannot do. I cannot lift it up or certain yoga movements, but and it's all thanks to my mom's decision, and it's all thanks back to this man. But basically, that came with a lot of pain for me, because I had to go every single day of my life until I was 14, until the time I developed, and as a woman. And the pain, it was atrocious. I was screaming, I was crying, because it was just doing, I don't know, crazy stuff, right? But so that was already a message for me. Okay, coming to this life, very difficult. Also with that, it came lots of difficult times, of course, at school, because, before my arm would look the way it looks now, I was always with a pin. I had it to attach to my clothes, because I could not really move it. I had no complete control of it. And I have to say that the other girls, they were all girls, they actually are still in that way, because the operation wasn't successful for none of them, so they are not able to use the arm. So that's also something that it came immediately, a huge pain, but a huge blessing for me. And So, at the time I did not understand, and I was much, at school always feeling different because I couldn't do some sports, I couldn't do lots of things. There was some bullying, but, all that was obviously that was all part of my teaching. And on top of that, growing up for me was quite hard because I am the last of, we are three sisters, but my sisters are much older than me, 9 and 11 years old. So I was by myself a lot because they were a teenager, of course, and they wanted to do their own thing, and they didn't want me to stop with their, teenager stuff.
Yeah.
And my mom was working full time. She had a business at home, and she had people working for her, so she was always working. We had a huge house. My dad was a very well-known photographer, and he was always away. And so I spent lots of time alone, and as described from my sister, I was a very, very dark girl since I was little. But I don't know, I just didn't feel like going out, and I didn't have many friends. I had few, but also there was lots of trauma growing up because we had a very, I'm not going to specific, but we had a very, very tough dad, and we all were absolutely terrified from him, to the point that we would hear the car coming from the street. We were all really like tensing up and worried and scared because, let's say that, it was very tough on us, and we had lots of punishments and lots of things. So, growing up always with that, and then when I was about 12, 13, I overheard my parents talking that my mom had cancer, had breast cancer, and that for me was a shock, very much shock. I knew already what cancer was because in my family, everybody who has died, my grandparents, other relatives, they all died from cancer. And in fact, I only met one grandparent, one grandmother, because everybody else died before I was born from cancer. So I knew what cancer was, and always being a little girl, I associated immediately, okay, my mom is going to die. So my world collapsed, and I was so upset, and she basically for 5 years, for the following 5 years, she kept having operations, going to see doctors everywhere. And I remember experiencing this and seeing this, like, every time an operation, which meant an organ removed, different therapies, different this, tried absolutely everything, but I could see that was actually not helping, and she was getting her. And the last nearly 2 years of her life, she was in bed, she couldn't even breathe by herself. She had to have dialysis. It was really, I say, atrocious to experience that. But
How old were you at the time?
When she got sick, I was 12. So for the next few years, what I did in my life was to be on my mom's side. And I had this something inside of me back then that I put in my head that I had the power to heal my mom. Yeah. Somehow, when I was sitting next to her, I had this inside of me. I had this feeling, and I could feel something in my hands, and I would naturally take her hand, and I would just give my energy. I didn't know what I was doing back then, but I felt that I could give my healing energy to her, and so she could heal. And it was so sure of that. And then I kind of I was so excited, and I remember that my world collapsed when I was telling what I was doing, to other members of my family, my sister, and they were like, laughed at me and say, "You're so silly. That's not gonna, you got to accept." Basically, they thought I was in denial. So I was like, you got to accept that you are not nobody to do this, and things like that. So I kind of stopped that, and I stopped everything that it was kind of spiritual or following this something that I always had.
Your intuition, it sounds like, was like repressed at that moment. Yeah,
absolutely shut down. And I remember I always said to myself, after my mom passed, I always said to myself, if I would have a cancer, because also back then it was very different the doctors were really, with the research were quite behind. So they were wanted me and my sister to do all these tests every few months because, they were saying it's all in your genes and, the people in your family. So you got really to be checked. And I was like, I don't want to live like that. I really don't. And I said, really, really meant it. If I get cancer, I would not do anything. I would just let it take me because I'm not going through what my mom is being through. And that was it. And then, I found myself alone with my dad, and my sister were all living away. And so I didn't know what to do with my life because I've been living for my mom for the last 5 years, and I felt like I needed to do something to change to bring back my inner intuition again, by my passion for life. And so I had a personal experience which was very, very traumatic, and that was good though because it gave me the push, and I decided to do something extreme. So I couldn't even speak English back then. I left everything and I moved to London. So in a month, I decided to do that. I sorted out my personal issue, and as soon as I was physically fit, I just moved to London, and I just started a new life. I was very young. I couldn't speak English. It was very hard. The first month, I was crying every night, but and then it was really, the life was hectic. The life was really, really hard because I was by myself, learning the language, earning money and studying and all that. So my life for a few years, it was great because I was making friends. I was feeling myself again. I was discovering who I was and in tune with myself. But I think for many years I did like sometimes 3 jobs as well. I was working day, working at night, and studying. And so the hectic life, after a while, I was diagnosed with cancer. And so that was it, the moment that I had been waiting for, in a way. And I have to say that when you are in this situation, everything changes because you are actually living something, and it's so different from when you think you're, you know something, or you're gonna do something. It changes everything. And so I changed my mind, of course. I didn't want to just die because I loved life, and I felt like, I want to do so many things, and I'm young. So it was very advanced, and it was a Hodgkin lymphoma. And because I was misdiagnosed first, so they realized that I had this when it was very advanced. So basically, I did all I had to do, all the chemos, all the stuff. I followed the doctor's, orders. And after a year and a half, nearly 2 years, I was able to come back to London because I had all this in Italy. And I started to feel great. So I went slowly back to work, and, I didn't realize. And I went straight back to the same life as I had before. I went back to the stress, to the hectic life, to rushing all the time, and working to the exhaustion, and keep pushing. So after a few years, cancer came again in a different place, right? And so this time I went back to Italy, and it was very aggressive. It was in my throat, and it was in my thyroid. So I had to have 2 very big operations. And after the second one, the doctor talked already about another one because it was so aggressive that these lymph nodes, they took my whole thyroid and 19 lymph nodes away. And I was actually feeling I had nothing left in me. It was a very weird sensation. And I had all these therapies, and I had these therapies that basically was obvious to me that the doctor didn't know what else to do because he kept coming back. So they gave me this radioactive injection, which, because it was so strong, I have to be in isolation for a month. First for a week in a bunker in a hospital, where everything around me was surrounded by paper, and I was infected, so I couldn't see anybody. Nobody could come close to me. And I remember my body was changing. Like, I lost some of my nails, my face blew up so much and kind of got distorted as well. I mean, it was, and also I started to feel really like, in a way, like I was dying, like my body was so exhausted, and the perspective was, what, more operation, more of this. And I was really dying in a way, because that's how I felt. And I, by myself, I couldn't speak to anybody in this bunker, and I started to feel like I couldn't breathe, and I just wanted to come out of that place. There was not even a window or anything. So I just saw that was a very important moment in my life, because I saw myself literally splitting in two. One of me was that exhausted person and letting go and giving up. And I said, I'm just going to run towards that door and hit my head until either somebody opens, or I'm just going to, faint or something. Now, the other side of me felt something incredible, felt like a sensation of a divine and being lifted up, and I could see that if I would take everything from a different perspective, I could actually take something good out of it. I could heal, and I could feel that I have to find my way to heal. I knew that was possible, but I have to find my way. So that was a message given to me: find a different way. You can do it, because you have a mission in life. So since that moment, I stopped the victim mode that I had my whole life around this cancer, my family cancer, and da-da-da. And I just felt like, that's it, I'm going to heal, and I'm going to be in control of it. I'm going to do it naturally, because I knew there was another way. I knew that way that I was pursuing, it wasn't the right one for me. So at that moment, I took a decision: no more operation, no more therapies, no more of these. And I started to read and document myself with books and anything I could find about holistic way of natural healing. And I had, when you start opening up to this, all the synchronicity starts, right? So I had books coming, people referring me to that person, and I mean, it was incredible. So I was really like living for this information. I think I was reading like 2 books a day or something like that, crazy. And since that moment, I knew that I had to change, and I started to change with my attitude, my mental attitude, and I started to change my diet completely. And then I started to meet people. And which led me to go to be in Bali, where I had a opportunity to study this, with a person that has been doing this for 30 years. And it was amazing, because I studied raw food and detoxing and holistic way of living, yoga, meditation, all this. And it was incredible for me. It totally changed my life, to the point that I knew that was it. It was the choice that I made, and not going back to that life that I went back after the first cancer. That was my decision of healing. That was the moment that changed everything for me.
Yeah.
Brand new this, but because back then he said to me, and I remember I got so upset with him. I went furious. He said, when I was diagnosed the second time, and I told him I was devastated. And he said to me, but this is the best thing that could have happened to you. And I remember I was mad at him. I didn't understand at that time, right? And so now I really do, and it really was, because it's like I've been given another chance. That was my second warning to that what I was doing, it was not my life, it was what I was supposed to do. And so basically, yes, after Bali and after me opening up to this, it's been one thing after another. I can't really tell you all of them, but I've been meeting people, I've been studying lots of different things, all on the holistic. But what has been, really, really calling me the last year or so is energy work, because I always felt really, really attracted to it, and it kind of took me back to the sensation that I had when I approached this. Is the same sensation that I had as a little girl, that I wanted to heal my mama. I felt that I can do it, and is amazing, and it works, and it can make a difference for people. And so I started to, and even with this, it's been synchronicities over synchronicities, how I meet people, and I always meet the right person in the right moment that allows me to study or to do this. So yes, now I've been doing this, and it's a sound healing, and I'm using tuning forks. I mean, I can talk about it if you want in details.
Yeah. Well, one thing is, how did you spoke about when you first started trying out some of the healing on your mom when she had cancer, and then you told your sisters and other relatives, and they kind of killed that intuition, and you repressed that. How was that journey to sort of trust in that yourself and that part? How did that come up?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I'm not there 100% yet still. It took me so much work, because what had happened since that moment, it was a piling up of insecurities and not being worth enough, not being good enough, and being sick all the time. And so it was all that growing, and I think I kind of bury my intuition. And even when I would meet people, which I had many in my life, healers, intuitive people, shamans in Bali, they all told me the same thing. They all told me, you are a witch. You are somebody that is meant to do this work. You just have to believe, because it's all there. And I remember even them telling me, what I was doing in my head was like, they don't know, they see something else, or they don't know. It was denial. It was like, I'm not good enough. It's not good. So it was, excuse me. It was really hard. It was really hard, because I was like, I was going towards something that it was calling me, but then when I was really touching or close to it, I just no, I just froze. Froze is the word. I froze, and I was like, step back. I said, no, I cannot do it. And this has happened a lot, because even in the last 5 years, which is when I've been, cultivating all this and starting this life and learning all these skills, studying as well. I studied with teacher, and it's not that I would just, imagine things. So feeling that I had the skills, when it was time for me to put myself out there, I still had that trauma. I still had that in my head that, I could nearly seeing people laughing at me in a way. And I was not brave, or I don't know what's the word is, enough to just do it. And that's the same thing with my art. Since I was a little girl, there was something, and I loved it, and then it got killed because my older sister was the artist in the family, not me. So I couldn't draw, I couldn't do things, And this, unfortunately, what is the society and the system is doing to our children, to us.
Yeah.
And also the work that I do energetically is also aiming to dismantle, de-layers, all these that we have.
So it sounds like, as a healer, you've been on a journey healing yourself as well, and it hasn't been easy. There's been it sounds like a lot of stuff coming up from the past, conditioning and everything that you had to work through, and still working through as well.
100% I'm doing every day. And I realize, of course, the more I'm aware now, the more I realize when it's coming. Not all the time, but most of the time I will see it immediately. It's happening. Sometimes I will see it straight after. Sometimes I feel it's coming and I'm able to, stop and breathe and okay. And what I learned is that for me, because everything I'm saying obviously is based on my experience and what I've been living in me, is some people tell me, because I was really like this, when I thought of even doing this work for people or doing my art and for other people, I never thought I could actually do it. I never thought I could actually get the strength and feel good enough and not worrying about the outcome, about what people say, and do it. And what I'm learning now is that, first of all, we create all these stories in our head. And second, not to really think about it too much and not to keep waiting for the right moment, because that was my story. Waiting for the right moment. I just need this course. I haven't got the right tools. I'm just gonna. It was all one thing, and I convinced myself that it was, it was genuine, but it wasn't. It was just all excuses and trying to. So what I do now, and I'm trying to do now, because it's not that I'm doing this all the time and it's easy peasy. I just know that I don't even have to think about it. I don't have to wait for anything. In fact, what I have to do is to do the opposite of what I will naturally do. Yeah. That's the way I found for me it works for. Okay.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Actually, Ron and I were having a discussion about that. And he suggested that I go sit under the kitchen table. and I thought, it's when you just do things differently, it opens up. There's a certain, I guess, playfulness about it that children do quite naturally until that's kind of crushed by some of us adults. But it's a way to step into that uncertainty, that place of the unknown, and yeah.
It's just incredible, the outcome, because also I found out, and I'm sure it's like this for everybody, once you are actually jumping and you see that things are starting to happen, synchronicities, and it's wonderful, and you feel incredible, you feel so alive and you feel so connected. And then I find myself realizing, but overall it wasn't that hard. It was impossible for me. So my favorite word was I can't, impossible. I can't, impossible. Like, I was saying these words I don't know how many times a day, and I don't even realize I was doing it, but I know I was, because I was being told. Now, when I'm actually doing this, I love it, and it makes me incredibly superhuman as well, if you want to go there. And then I sit there and I'm like, it was not that difficult at all, because I think you're also, once you take that decision and you make the first step, there is something taking you, guiding you, right?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. If when you make that decision and you just kind of jump, would you say that it's more about that moment of jumping, that sort of stepping into the unknown? Is it more about that or the results? Like something happening successful, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Maybe a little bit of both, I would say. It's a little bit of both. Yeah.
The reason
Sorry. No, go for it.
Oh, the reason I ask is because when you're talking about that, and when I'm thinking about my experience with it, there's, when you step into the unknown, it feels like you're already in another world. You've already expanded. And so whatever the goal is, or the thing that you want or desire, doesn't, for me, seem as important. Like it gets you to jump into it, but it feels like that jump in, it just creates this whole other world, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And in fact, what you said it perfectly. Because for me, it's like if before the jump, I feel that bit of both, even knowing what I know. But like you said, once you have jumped, everything else, it disappears. It doesn't really matter. And I personally feel this even now when I do my art, right? That I suppressed for all my life. And the interesting thing was that there were only time as an adult that I drew, and every time was when I had cancer, when I was, in the hospital for a long time, and obviously, now that I look back, it's like because it was something that it was making me feel good.
Yeah.
It was away from everything else, and I didn't care if it was good or not good because I was doing it for me, for the feeling, for feeling that I am part of something that is completely natural, completely clean, it's not attached to is it good or is it not good? Is that person gonna like it? And for me, this I have to say, now when I find myself in this situation, is the real meditation for me. Is the real meditation because I am really in a state of completion and peace, and I love it. And everything else, the world outside, people, they're not there. They're not there. So I love it. Yeah, and it's very healing.
So I want to get into the actual healing work, but before we do that, just go into our chat room on Zoom. This is new for me. I do have one question. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Is it Jana? Jana?
From Prague.
Okay. So this is for you, Eleonora. What are the most important experiences in your life which formed you to be who you are today? You might have covered some of that, but if there's, anything.
You know what? Everything. I would say everything. Everything that happens. And I know this might sound cliche, we heard it so many times, but it's so true. And I understand this more and more. Everything that happens so many times, I never get it in the moment. Even things like, for example, just to give you very, very easy example, I had some dramas over Christmas. I was supposed to fly to Italy, and although I tried everything and I paid for everything and I was ready and I wasn't able to leave. And that was like the day before departure when I was all ready, paid for the ticket, paid for all these tests and everything. But in that moment, I was like, this is the last thing that I need because my family needs me. I need to be with my family. I'm going to be, stuck here and depressed in London by myself and the last place where I want to be. And, always going a little bit in that. And then I said, there's nothing good coming out of this. But in the end, there was so much greatness coming out of it. And I could not see in the moment, right? I could not see. So sometimes we leave, and although we might be sure that something happens and it's not good, it's never like that. So I'm learning and I'm leaving this experience in myself that every obstacles that we call obstacle is instead is an opportunity. And again, is the story that we create, is how we perceive it, is how we make action towards it. We should really switch our perception about things. So everything that's happened in my life is been for this experience.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, and so before we get into the healing, a little. I've done some sessions with Eleonora. I met Eleonora through Ron, and I would call Ron, and sometimes I remember I called him once. I think it was like 4 a.m. Eastern time. Forget what time it was in UK, and I just poured out all this stuff that I was just repressing. I took that leap, and Ron, he's one of those people that he will just hold the space for you without judgment, and I felt comfortable to share all this stuff. And we've had a bunch of conversations, and at one point he was like, I think you should, maybe you should think about getting some healing work with Eleonora. She's quite good. And, so I had like 3 sessions, 3 or 4, I forget. But yeah, it was really, really, really helpful. I really love the way that Eleonora talks you through. So I didn't have a lot of understanding. So I feel like I was getting a sort of an education as I was getting the work done, and just your presence, and so compassionate, and your sensitivity as well. And I think I get the sense of those things that happen in childhood, those insecurities and stuff. I think those are really important for healers, because they can tune in to other people's, they're sensitive to that stuff. And I felt that when we were doing the work together, and I had like some, like, I think some breakthroughs, doing the work with you. I was like out in nature, and just, feeling, let's just say I was taking a bunch of leaps into the unknown, and and also feeling the just the energy shifts in the body, and helping with my sleep, and yeah, just sort of opening my heart space, and it was really helpful. And Eleonora is also working with my mom as well. She's done a few sessions. So anyone that comes to me or that I think need it, I have you in mind. So yeah. So how did you get into? Talk to us a little bit about the specific healing work that you do with the tuning forks or whatever, the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me when people ask me exactly what I do, because I just love so many things, and I would like to use all the tools that I learned for myself to, to help other people. But the tuning forks is my latest passion, and I think it just takes together everything really, because it's fascinating, it's magnificent. So basically, I'm using these forks. There are many different forks. So basically, there are forks that make vibrations, and they have a different frequency, and some of them resonates with the electromagnetic pulsation of the earth. That's why they are so powerful, and that's why our body really, really loves them. And some of them, they make a sound like this and vibration, and that's also basically what they do. They tune us. So to step back a little bit, because basically, I think this is what the easiest thing. Can you see it? To show some people that don't know, basically, this is us, right? Let's say this is our body in the middle, and we have all our chakra energy point in the middle line of our body, these spinning wheels, right, that we have. We also have an energy field around us. And this is kind of, is a visual of what it is. Mm-hmm. All around us, we have this. And basically, this is constant energy, constant light, because that's what we're made of, right? We are batteries. We have all these systems in ourselves. So we have a nervous system, we have a digestive system, but we also have this electrical system, but we never learn about, okay? It's kind of a new things, although, it's not very new, but let's say the scientists now, they are very much starting to approach this, especially neuroscientists like, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza, Bruce mm-hmm. Licht. They're all now talking about this field, this magnetic field around us. And the thing with this, that's why it's so important, because it extends basically 6 feet around us, which I think is about 1 meter and 88 in centimeters. Mm-hmm. And this is like an archive of all our lives and our traumas, our emotions, all the things that happen in our life, and we haven't actually processed we haven't actually dealt with in a way. So they kept stuck inside of us. And interesting is that, especially on the outer edges of our field, we have energies that belongs to our parents, grandparents, ancestors, and we carrying with us at a certain point. Some people more, some people less, but we all do. So basically, these energies get stuck, right? Gets frozen. That's what happens in our life when we experience traumas, when we experience issues, physical, emotional, any sort of things. And so that means that we don't have to have optimal health, to be in homeostasis. That's what it's called, right? It means that we have optimal health, and it means that we have energy flowing all over our body. That all these energy points are free, and there is balance, there is coherence, right, in our body. And everything that you see here, it will be beautifully, flowing. But most of us, they have issues, and so there will be stuck energy in all this part. And that's where, with time especially, it happens that it piles up on top of each other. There will be more and more blockages, and that with time it transforms in physical illness, emotional issues, and so on and so on. That's basically trapped, frozen energy in our body that needs to unleash, and go. And that's what I do basically. And these folks are amazing because they speak to me. And I saw this the first time in Bali. I had no idea what it was, but it called me. I knew I have to touch it. I knew I have to approach the lady. And I'm a very reserved person. I don't go and ask people question and, say, oh, what's that? I'm not like that. But I had to go and ask this lady, what are these and what you do with them? Because it's not like a magnet calling me. And she said to me, to be honest with you, I haven't got a clue. Somebody who I met in Bali left, and they didn't have, because they're quite heavy, they didn't have the facility to take them. And she gave it to me. She gifted it to me. But she said, I don't know what to do with it. And I was just like, I want them. I really do, because I just felt like, and I start playing with it, and the sound, the vibration, it resonated inside of me immediately. And so basically, the forks, basically, when you hit them I hit them to these, is it called haki pack?
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah.
I hit it here, and basically I hold it in the body and in the field. Sorry, I'll start with the field. So I start on the edges, and basically with the sound and the vibration, they will inform me when they hit these spots of frozen energy, of blockage. And while I know that is two things, well, more than two, but mainly I feel it from the sound. The sound changes.
Yeah.
The sound kind of speaks to me. And also I feel it in me. I will feel sensation. I will feel emotions. I will feel, I don't know, for example, I could feel pain, sadness, or sometimes I have pictures in my head of, I don't know, a child or a mother or something. It's like I am listening. I don't know to what. I'm listening to the energy that is kind of, and I'm just a messenger. I'm not doing anything. I'm just kind of guiding what the fork is telling me to do, which is either stay on that point until I feel, because the fork can get really heavy as well. Like sometimes it can pull me down a lot. And so until I feel that the sound is coherent and is not distorted anymore, and until I feel like inside of me everything is good, I just stay in that, and you will hear it. You had session with me, so you heard it yourself.
Yeah.
Like the sound changes so much according to where it hits, And it's so fascinating. I mean, this is what it is, and also, we being electric beings, it means that we are like a battery, right? We have we have this battery, and we need to, be fully charged in order to then give, the power to everything in our body that needs to function through the day, our organs and brains and everything. But if we are actually not tuned, low tuned already, if we have a low voltage to speak in terms of electricity, then we don't have the power to give to the body, and that's how we really function always in a low battery, and we feel tired. That's why we feel moody. That's why we have pain coming, and that's why sometimes we cannot sleep. And also that means that if we have a low voltage, it means that we have a low pH in our system. Low pH in our system means that there is no balance. There is no homeostasis inside of us, and means that we are acidic inside, and we are open to disease. We are open to illness, and also, the way that our cell renew all the time, right? Our cell, some of the cells in our body are pretty young, and because they constantly renew. But if we don't have that full power, there is much energy for this cell to renew, and that's why we age a lot. We don't have energy, and we get the disease and things like that. So I found this is incredibly fascinating for me, and to see how it really works is also mind blowing, and I love it. I feel that I can treat people. That's what I felt when I was healing from cancer. I don't want to die because I want to help people. Because, like you said, I think many people have a very difficult life, but if you use all this that you learn, as you can then be compassionate. And I really, what I feel is like when I'm with somebody, I feel like I connect to that person because I experience their pain, I experience what they're going through, I experience the illness in me. And I know, first of all, I know how it feels. And second, I know that it's possible to heal against everything, against all the doctor that they told me that I wasn't going to make it. They told me that I wasn't even going, to wake up from a short coma that I had. They already told my family I wasn't going to make the next day, things like that. And I know that there isn't such a thing, Obviously, the first thing is intention, but I feel so passionate about it, and I know I am the proof that it's possible. So I want to help people. That's the most beautiful thing for me. I mean, I have nothing as beautiful as when I finish a session with somebody that especially I know is in greater pain or discomfort, and they tell me, I'm feeling better already. I can move my foot that I wasn't able to move it for a long time, or things like that. And I don't know. I just feel that that's what life is about for me. That's what purpose of life is for me. It's the most beautiful feeling. So I'm really passionate about this, and I just want to spread it everywhere because it's so easy, it's so simple, it's so pain-free, and we can do it everywhere in the world you are. You don't need to be here. And this is something else that for me at the beginning, it was a little bit strange, right? I'm like, how does it work? Because basically what I do to connect to that person, I project the hologram, I vision it where I am, and I work on the hologram. Okay, but I'm working towards the computer, but I'm working towards the hologram of that person. So I'll be working straight on that person field. And it doesn't matter where you are, we are all connected. We're all electric, connected, and we're all light. So yeah. Wonderful. I mean, I can talk about this for days and days, so you have to stop me, really.
Ron, any
So Eleonora, sometimes can you see if we're in this vortex of energy around us, are you able to see some of these energies fields?
Well, this happens to me more and more. And again, going back to what Ade was asking me before, I still have that, sometimes I naturally starting to see lights. Or I remember once I was I was in a park and I felt like putting my back on a tree and feeling the tree, and I was looking ahead inside of me, and I started to see like these lights, like, you know, going like this, and they were like all in front of me, and it was luminous, and it was like, and then I started to see, instead of people coming by, I would see the light of them, and then I immediately blocked it because I was like, who do I think I am to see this? You know, it's like, but naturally now I feel like, and I can see that there is something coming out of me as well, because I notice now, especially when I'm on the street, when I'm walking on the street, I have many people walking and they stop and they look at me like they feel something, they see something, and they smile. And trust me, I don't know about New York, but this in London is not frequent. But here, every day is happening more and more. Or I totally feel that I don't know. For example, the other day I was in a coffee shop and I was sitting by the window and I was reading my book, but then I looked outside and there was this man walking and he was really doing something, but he kind of stopped where I was and he was outside and he turned around and he looked at me with interest, like there was something obviously energetically. I don't know. So I feel like I am more open, something open up in me, and I feel in my hands discharge all the time. In fact, what I do, I always call to all the crystals, because I work a lot with crystals because they have naturally, you know, the frequency of the earth, and so healing. And I do lots of my work using crystals. And when I hold these crystals, after a minute I hold them, they're like fire, they are boiling. So obviously there is something that I'm more and more, let's say, opening up to, and I feel around me, and I feel also, I don't know how to describe this, but when I sit down and I just close my eyes and I connect to all that there is around me, I hear the pulsation of the heart. I just don't know how to, it's like and I hear this vibration. So it's like before I was oblivious to all this, you know, and your senses open up, I think, because being outside, the way I see, I don't know, plants, and the way I feel the wind, you know, is touching me. There is a message in everything. But before I was just like, you know, not this. And animals feels that too, because lately I 4 cats, they are all and some of them, they really want to come in, you know, there, and I feel like, oh my god, like that, 4 different ones, things like that. But definitely there is something happening, and I'm exploring it still, and it's fascinating. Yes. But
sorry, go ahead.
I forgot to say this at the beginning, that if we have time and you guys want to, I would like to do a little surprise today, and it's something that I never done before, and like to jump, you know, in the unknown. I can put myself in danger now because it might not work and people will go like, oh, but I don't care. I want to do it. I never done it before, and I thought a very nice thing to do. And so it's basically it will take about 5 to 10 minutes. So if you want to do, you know, and
we'll do it. Yeah,
preparation. Just tell me anytime that you want.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think that'll be fun. And we have a comment from Facebook. Lydia says, "My sessions with you were great and quite helpful. Your work is done in such a loving and compassionate manner, and yeah, something connection with you, a manner, and I connected. Okay, I couldn't. Okay, yeah.
To the people I work with, I totally feel connection.
Yeah. I connected to you. Okay. So yeah. What else? What else? Ron, before we get into the anybody in the Zoom chat, do you have any questions? Please feel free to leave them in the chat. So before we get to the healing, I think we'll do the healing in a little while, but I want to talk a little bit more about the energy work. And yeah, it's Is it so what I've found for me with the work is, and you tell me if this is correct or not, or I don't know if there's a correct or incorrect, but that sometimes the benefits from it happen, like you do the work, and when it's done, it's still working within you, and so that's one question. The other question is, who is it that's doing the work? What is it that is doing the work? Because sometimes I think of you as like a sort of a channel, but I don't want to put words. You talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, well, no, great question, and definitely it's good that you asked, because I say this every session I have with people. We're all very different, so we all react to things differently. We all have our own way to process, and our body is different, and emotions are different, our systems are different. So this work is very different in terms of and it's evolving, right? So it's not that we finish the session and you might feel energy moving in the session. You might feel the pain is easing up. You might feel a release. You might feel emotional. But that doesn't end there, because basically what we're doing, the more we do it, the more we unlayer and peel off. It's like, think of something that is got layers and layers and layers of things on top. Mm-hmm. So this energy is constantly working. So what I'm doing is, it's like I am brushing, I am brushing your field, I'm brushing your system, and slowly starting to untune, is starting to unblock everything. So this energy that we are unblocking now is flowing again. So slowly is starting to make its way wherever it needs to go, and that's it might take, for some people it takes a few days. That's why ideally is always best to, ideally we do one session a week, but at least we have to wait 3-4 days between one session and another, because the work, the energy keeps moving. The body will receive in a different way, or it's like when you're doing a detox, you need to body the time to understand what's happening, process it, and then it starts to come out of your system. And that's why sometimes that's exactly the same principle that I call it extinction burst, which means that you got to feel it to heal it. It can be unpleasant, because something that has been stuck inside of us or has been hurting a lot, sometimes to come out of your system, you might feel it, or sometimes it will try to go somewhere else. So I can give you an example. I've been working with somebody that he was in an abusive relationship, and so while I was working on her field, I started to feel this energy, and I knew it wasn't hers. I knew it was the partner energy, and it was so strong and so persistent. So it didn't want to leave her body, left the body, and I started to feel it in me, because as I get connected to people, and what I could feel that it was trying to find a home somewhere in my body. So it would start traveling, go somewhere, first my lower body, then my stomach, then my head. And I really have to work with my breath and the thing a lot to kind of help it to leave. So sometimes it takes a while. It really depends. And to answer your other question, what it is, it's simply energy. It's simply light and energy, and we all have it inside of us, and we all have it outside of us. And so I think it's it's not me doing it. I think I am a messenger. So I kind of been guided to pick up, like, you know, like a magnet, to pick up this energy that I feel, and like a sonar, right? Like pick it also from the body, like a sonar. You know, when you're like you listen to a radio and it starts to go like, and you're trying to adjust it to find it. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find the right thing where I can actually work and move the energy, move the blockage. So there is this something that was frozen inside of us. It will kind of unleash, and then it will just go back into balance, into flow, and yes, and something I think interesting is about this work that is not in line with I don't want to say most, but let's say some of the spiritual teachers or people out there. I'm sure you heard this a lot. They're talking about high vibration, rise in your vibrations, that's what they say. Okay, but what I learned in this work is that we want to do that because we want to, it's something ascending, right? Rising in vibration. So you want to go above with your head and leave kind of the body, because you don't want to feel the pain, you don't want to feel emotions, you don't want to feel whatever it is that is physically here. And I think so that's one is kind of leaving the body, but it's just going up and out. But instead, I think we should raise our voltage, right? Because that means that we are actually staying grounded, stay right where we are. Because the other vibration, raising vibration, it can easily lead to spiritual bypassing, right? We're trying to avoid, we don't want to feel the pain, we want to feel, but we are in this physical body. And I think we have full battery and we need to be grounded, and so raise our voltage. And so when we are in this high vibrational, coming from a grounded position in our body, we can then deal with the issues that we have to deal with. We can deal that making the world a better place, cleaning up neighborhood garbage and things like that. And we are not bypassing, because we are not avoiding. We are actually fully here and now, present and doing this.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because when doing that work, when staying here, and one thing you had told me is whatever comes up, I think you just embrace it. Embrace it without judgment or something like that. But it was something that was very helpful, because what we can tend to do is some pain comes up, something comes up, and we're so quick to label it and put it into a box, like one of these little boxes. And but doing this type of work of being here with it, the work that you do is so to be present with it without the judgment. Then you're here with it, you experience it in a whole new, different way, not as an enemy or something that you have to get away from, or it needs to be fixed,
All the time and
Yeah.
And this is actually, psychologists, they call it dissociation.
Yeah.
And shamans, how shamans call this? Soul loss. I don't know if you heard.
No.
Like you're losing your soul.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
I find it very, very interesting. And it's
I love that word. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Because, when you were talking about your childhood and sort of repressing some of that intuition, and now it feels like you've come like full circle and are experiencing, and the soul is alive and expressing, and I think in my opinion, that's what we need more of, that in the world, you know, that connection with the soul, because then it seems like, and you experience with your art as well and with your healing, the creativity flows easier, and the creativity we see all around, you know, in the world, which keeps us going, keeps the world going. The mycelium, the trees, the, you know, everything is in its natural way. So it feels like what you're doing now is connected to your natural way, which is helping others to heal, you know, and healing yourself as well, which is really beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so, Ron, do you have any questions before we get into the healing?
Yeah, Eleonora, you do that. Eleonora runs a full moon meditation once a month. Eleonora, can you explain, because when you do it, you get us all aligned with each other. How does the tuning forks work in that?
Basically, yeah, it's very interesting. The group is very different from a single session, and what happens basically, I I project every single person in the group in the hologram that I have, right? And then I do the same thing, but I need to listen a lot, because obviously there is few people together. So basically, how I do this is I have to listen for a while to see what it comes up, and normally it will take a while. Depends on the group, because you see, people will feel different things. You will pick up some tension. You will keep somebody so tired. Some people might be in pain. So sometimes you pick up all these things together, and I have to, with my breath, I use my breath a lot, and I have to bring the energy of the group in alignment, so I feel like I have everybody together. And I don't know how to explain to you, because I am a feeler, right? I know that some people, they really have visions of things, and but I feel, and everything I do in my session, I feel. So there will be a moment when I feel there is a click, like I hold everybody energy here. And that's the time when I can go and start, and I will feel. So as you notice, as you know, because we do these meditations together, it's not just me doing it, it's me and you, but I will know in that moment what I should work on, what is the most useful thing for the group energy. So for example, one session I will feel that, okay, let's work on love, let's work on opening the heart. So I work on everybody's heart chakra. Another time, probably there was, I remember I really felt like I need to work on the root chakra, because there was so much pulling for me to go on that. And it's something that is, I can't now, for example, because I'm not in it, describe. But when I'm in the moment, it's like I'm guided. And I think that's the easiest way I can describe it. And I listen. But then I have to really strip off my mind from, am I listening right? Is it good enough? Are the people going to understand? Are the people going to feel it? All that, it needs to go. And otherwise, there's no point. And I know that if I start to do that, the moment I start to do that, I disconnect from everybody. And I also know that also people don't feel me, because you see, our energy is so powerful that when we are in connection, for example, us, even though, we're not physically here, I don't even need to speak, or even though I speak, but I'm not connected with you, or I'm not speaking from a genuine part, you will know it. And it doesn't matter what I say. I can say the most amazing things, the most academical things in the world, and using all these words, but you will know that it's not truly coming from my soul, right? And so basically, they have done lots of studies about the energy we carry in our tones and our physical presence. So, and it's only 20% of what we actually say, of the words we say, that the other person receive it. And that's, it's been kind of, many research is been actually proved, So mainly is how I transmit to you with my energy. Obviously, my words are important because you're listening to them. But if you don't have that connection, if you don't feel this truly coming from me, it must have happened to you when you listen to somebody in a conference or somewhere else, and you've been listening to the person for God knows how long, but you haven't really heard what they said, or nothing stays in you or what they say, because your soul didn't receive it.
Yeah.
Ade, we talked about this a lot, and Eleonora, about you just spoke about the power of a group and what can be accomplished when people are working together. And you're doing this in actual healing and healing terms, that you're getting a group of people who are aligned together. And I think that the possibilities of when we're all aligned and we're all going, in a place where it's compassion and empathy that is leading us, what the possibilities are then.
Yes. Yes,
could you kind of speak, what would happen? I'm thinking of that, if you had these tuning forks and there was a few of you in the room, and you had just a large group of people, the possibilities of what could happen. What do you think?
I would love to do it more than thinking of what it would be, because I think now I want action more than words. In my life, I had always so many words and studying and reading and listening. And now it's like, no, let's do it. So I would say, I don't know, I want to do it. I think it will be incredibly powerful. And the reason why I say this with 100% confidence is because one of the most profound healing experience I had personally was when I went to Dr. Joe Dispenza advanced workshop. There were 1,400 people all together, and he does this coherence healing. And everybody is actually, there are some people who are healers and some people who are healers. So when you have healing, all these people energy, so you'll be in the middle and you will have a round of people around you, a group of people around you, all healing you, projecting their energy towards you, and they're not even doing with anything. So can you imagine doing with the forks? I don't know. And that was, for me, experiencing that, the strongest experience I had in a healing experience on me, because I felt all these people energy. And like, you're right, it's amazing, he's incredible. What it could happen, I don't know, but I think let's do it, because definitely something happened, because he's now doing this in for children sick in hospitals, this remote coherence healing, and apparently they are really, really having a big success. They're having amazing results. That's the power of people together.
And you spoke about, which I thought was really interesting, that to do this, you become grounded to the earth. And I remember you spoke to me about, is it grounding, of walking barefoot on the earth?
Yes.
Yeah, can you tell us about that then, as well, please?
Okay. Well, that's basically the ideal things. And I think, Ada, if you remember, I told you this as well. After, for example, even the session that I do, to make sure that the work is actually staying in you, and you're fully receiving. Ideally, we should go out in the grass, or in the ground with a bare feet, because that's the time when we are basically let's say we were at this with this battery, right? With this battery just being fully charged, that is giving, all this electricity everywhere. And the moment we put our feet, on the ground, it's like Mother Earth is immediately in connection with us. It's like we have to keep sucking, like our feet will become roots that goes down, and it will suck all this energy, and it will give us full power, because we will be in our natural state. When we take away all this stuff, right, that we have in this physical body and this in our minds, that's our normal states. And we know none of us, maybe very few people, are able to fully live that and fully absorb from nature and feel from nature, because we are self-healing. If we could live like the ancient tribes or our ancestors would live, you're just constantly healing because you're constantly connecting to the nature. They were bare feet. They didn't have any shoes. They didn't have any clothes. They didn't have all this stuff. And they were simply naked. And they didn't have all these layers of stuff. And always connected, always grounded, always. And that, if you will be able to do that, you don't need the forks. You don't need the tuning forks, because you're constantly healing. You're constantly at your optimal state, where we are lost all that, and everything could be so simple, but we just make it so hard. So it's going back, and it's about delayering, the taking things off. So something like bare feet on the ground. And I notice myself, even though when I do my session, I need to be bare feet, because if I wear shoes, it's not the same as feeling the connection to the ground.
Yeah, I took that suggestion.
Mm.
I think 2 of the times until it snowed here. It was pretty. The times I did it was pretty. One time it had just rained, pretty cold. It was in I think it was in December, but I still did it. It wasn't too bad. I still felt. There's something about having your feet on the earth, on the dirt, and you just. I don't know what it is. It's it just feels so natural, and
it's a natural state, right?
Yeah.
Connecting to something that otherwise we with everything else that we have, we are so disconnected. And there's another beautiful way, to it's an electrical conduct, because obviously we are made of water, and that's why I always say to people that if they cannot do that, the grounding with their bare feet on the grass or the dirt, to have possibly a bath with some salt, because we are made of water mainly, and water is helping all this electricity to move, So it's also very, very important to connect with water as well, to be in water.
Yeah. So I'm sure everyone is, and Ron, unless you have any other questions.
Yeah, just one last one, because it continues on from the water. Eleonora, you've spoken to me so much about the ocean and walking on the beach and being connected to the water. Could you just go into that please?
Well, I tell you how I feel, and that's why I'm suffering now being in a city, because I feel the natural state for me is when I am by the water, when I am my feet on the sand and the water, because that's the moment when I feel I'm truly connected to something bigger, but at the same time that is bigger, but is in me. And it's like there is no separation in that time. And all I feel is I have my feet in the water, and I starting to feel this tingling coming from the ground, and the water moves me, and inside of me I feel like the cells are starting to move and like a dance and refresh and renew, and I suck it. Basically what I do with my intention, right? I take it because I know it's there and I use it, and the visualization is everything. The intention is everything. We're going to do something with water. It's so interesting that you mentioning this, because what I want to do today is to work with water, the water that we drink, and I want to change the taste of the water. I want to bless the water, and I want to change the structure of the water. So I want to do this with you, and when we drink this water, it will be healing for us.
Okay, great.
So everybody should get like a glass or a bottle of water, and to have it ready. But just get good water, no coffee, no juice.
That's water.
Yeah.
I've got a water here.
So let's give people if they want to join, and taste the water. Taste the water now, because then we're gonna taste it afterwards.
Everyone, if you take a minute to get your water ready.
Yeah, taste it now, and just spend a few seconds, like observing, inquiring about, how does it feel, how does it taste. And then keep the water in your hands. Don't keep it on the table, but just hold it with your hands. I will not hold it with my hands because I'm going to use the forks, but you guys hold it. And so I'm gonna, this is so much fun. I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna do, but I just really felt like I wanted to do this. And again, this is beautiful because the intuition was right, because then we spoke about water, the question about water, and we perfectly led to this moment organically, like playing just like you guys.
Shall we give everyone another 30 seconds, a minute or so, just to 30 seconds to get their water ready?
It won't take long. So I'm just going to position myself, and I might use different forks. So I'm just gonna go because I'm not holding my water, so I'm just gonna be like this. So I'm facing my own water, and exciting.
And is there one question? Is there anything? I'm sorry. Oh, is there anything that how should when you're doing work with people and like doing this today with us as a group, is there anything we need to be doing?
No, you just need to. Well, I will guide you with this, but now I will be really concentrating on the water. But basically, all you have to do is receive.
Okay.
Relax. I will guide you to this anyway, and just breathe, relax, and be open to receive and give, and that's all really. Yeah.
Okay.
Eleonora, is it all those watching, all those who are with us right now, who are experiencing this show right now?
This will work also for, thank you for that, even people who will watch the recording, because everything is right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So even though the recording will be later on in YouTube and people will not watch this live, it will be exactly the same. There is no time, there is no space, there is no past, there is no future. Everything is here right now, okay? So everything in this work is working in this right moment. So yeah, thank you for that. I wanted to say that as well. Yeah. So shall we start? What you guys think?
Yeah.
Everybody on water. Okay, beautiful. So make sure you're sitting in a comfortable position, and just close your eyes. Close your eyes, and for a minute, just tune inside of you, and just be curious to see how you feel, what you notice, what is coming up, and just think of an ocean. Think of the waves. Just naturally let them pass through. Do not try to do anything with this. Just think of waves. Waves cannot be stopped. So is how we feel right now, our emotion. We shouldn't deny or suppress them, but just let them pass through like waves in the ocean. Okay, I feel again, I feel there is lots coming up, lots of different things from different people, some tension, some different emotions. Some people are not sure about this, which is okay. Just keep breathing and observe and listen, and start to tuning to the water inside of you. Just visualize, connect to all the water that we have inside our body. And now start to connect also to all the water around us in the world. All that beautiful water in the springs that is so pure, so clean. And that's what we're doing today. We will purify the water within us first by simply holding pure thoughts and pure feelings. It's so simple like that. So keep breathing very gently, very slowly, very deeply. And keep the water in your hands. Okay. I'm changing the fork. I feel like I need to go deeper. So blessing the water means really charging water and changing the structure of the water, purifying it, taking back to this natural state of being so charged up, because we are adding electromagnetic charge to the water, so it has more light and more life into it. So just connect to that water in you and all the water in the world. Connect to the soul of every water, and now visualize that spirit of the water. And visualize a beautiful spring by the mountain with this fantastic water coming so fresh and delicious and pure. It's so healthy, and it's also electric. So imagine all this beautiful water, the spirit of this water that is on top of your head, just above your head, above the crown of your head. And see it there, it's dancing, it's moving. So invite now that pure, clean, bright, alive water to come through to your body, from your head. And slowly imagine this water descending with this beautiful light all down your body. So imagine this water entering from your forehead, going all over your body. So on your eyes, nose, cheeks, mouth. It's so refreshing. It's so bright and alive. This is purifying and lightening up all your body. And all the water molecules of your systems are regenerating, renewing, refreshing. That your body is loving this. And just see all that happening. Just feel this water going down your shoulders, down your arms, your hands, your chest, traveling down your legs, all the way down to your feet. Just feel how wonderful, and you're like glowing in the dark, illuminated now. So just see how you feel. Just see how you feel, and send all this beautiful sensation to the water that you're holding now from your body. Send it through your hands to the water you're holding. Just simply as that. And also while you're doing that, send some gratitude and some love. And this is activating your water simply with your hands, with your intention. You are doing this, and it's so simple. You're activating your water. Remember, we are like antennas, and we are constantly influencing and informing with our energy anything around us, everything that we touch, everything that we get in touch with. And this everything, absolutely everything that we are holding or touching or sitting on. And remember to, when you do it, remember this in your everyday action. Remember how you're influencing the vibe of everything. And send love and gratitude to your food in the day, to your drinks, to the precious things in your life, the people. It's all about energy. Think when you go into a restaurant and you're enjoying this food and it makes you so happy, and somehow you really enjoy it and you have that feeling of satisfaction and joy. It's also the chef energy is coming through that food to you because you prepared it with love and gratitude. Okay, just keep with that feeling. Keep breathing for another second or so, and just pass to your water all this beautiful energy from inside of you. Bless it with gratitude and love. Yes, and now when you feel that you're ready, you can open your eyes and we can see, taste your water, and if you want to share, has it changed, has it not changed, how does it taste, how do you feel? So have a sip. Mine tastes quite sweet actually compared to before.
If anybody who's tried can write in.
Yeah, here's a message. Okay. Oh, okay. No, never mind. That wasn't a question. Okay. Yeah, there wasn't a question. But yes, this was from Nina.
Nina in Bali.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Nina had to leave.
Quite late.
Yeah, so she.
Oh, mwah, Nina, thank you. Although you've gone.
Thank you for joining. And yeah, so she said she'll watch the recording if it's available tomorrow, which it should be. Yeah, so the water, it so I was trying to remember the how it tasted before, which was hard to remember, but what I taste now is just a kind of, I don't know, just felt like a aliveness, energizing. There's a like a smoothness, very clear.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's about the sensation more than the taste, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we can do this with the food that we eat. You know, I do this. To be honest with you, I don't buy anything organic. First of all, I don't believe there is anything as such a thing as organic.
Yeah.
And then it's so expensive that it's really ridiculous. So when I wash my food, I change it. I take everything away with the image of my hand, you know, intention, and I just do that with everything that I eat.
Yeah. Oh, we got some more comments. Okay, so we have on Facebook from Lydia, my water tastes a bit sweeter and better.
Oh.
Okay. And we have here on Zoom, okay, we have Michelle, a different change. It was Volvic, lemon, and lime. Now my water is normal, no flavor.
Wow.
Okay. We have, I'm going to mess up this name. Sioban? S-O-S-I, huh?
Siobhan.
How do you say it?
Siobhan.
Siobhan or Vaughn? Or is it pronounced as a V?
Siobhan.
With V, Siobhan.
Siobhan. Okay, Siobhan. Oh, it's a beautiful name. Oddly, I got a sense of the ocean. James, or is it Jamie? Jame, Jame Ashton.
Jane. Is that Jane Ashton?
Yeah, but it's
Jane?
Or maybe it's Jane, but it's
Jane. You're right, but it's Jane. Yeah.
Jane. Okay, the water is much pure, less metallic.
Oh,
great.
Yeah. Wow.
Much pure, less metallic. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Jane said, sorry, misspelled the name. Okay, that's okay. Okay. Oh, that's great. Thanks everyone for sharing the experience and the feedback. Yeah.
You know what's amazing as well is that when we're all together doing this, and I think something really amazing happens when we're as a group just focused on this, and that was an extraordinary feeling in itself.
Yeah.
There's a number of us here, and we're having this meditation, and it's really, and Eleonora, can you tell us about the actual sound of the tuning forks? Because they seem to really kind of go through you.
Yeah, I mean the body loves the sound, but the sound it changes, and sometimes I've been, for example, if you hit a spot that, let's say, somebody was really unwell or has got lots of resentment of anger, the sound will really sound, it's not all wow beautiful and it really changes. So it reflects what he finds in a field. That's what it is. And so what I do, I keep going and knowing until I feel that the sound go back into harmony.
Yeah.
Go back, the nice and that's how it informs me that now is is tuned again. Let's say talking about. in sound talking. But obviously, you know, there is also what it does to the brainwave, because, you know, sound, this is also sound therapy, and it relaxes our brainwave, it slows them down. So naturally it makes our whole body relax, our nervous system relax. So that's the beauty of the sound as well. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And we need that to counter all the garbage that is thrown at us all day, you know, from the news, from social media, from just our environment, you know, which kind of just revs up the nervous system and gets us on heightened alert and survival mode all the time, and, you know, conflict and everything else. So having the sound healing aspect of it as well, just soothing. I noticed that about the sessions as well.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So we have Beatrice. Do you know Beatrice is?
But
Well,
she wrote in Italian or English? Because Beatrice is sister, but she only speaks Italian.
Okay, no. She's watching. She's on Facebook. So yeah. That's your sister?
Yes, one of my sisters.
Oh,
yeah.
Great. Yeah. Okay, so think probably should wrap it up. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything that we didn't ask, or anything that you felt you wanted to share before we begin to close?
I really can't think of anything right now, but I would like to say, if people have any questions, or you know, after this they have any questions or something comes to their mind, I'm very happy for them to write to me, to contact me. I'm very happy to speak to anybody they want to know more about this, or they want to try, or they have just questions, or they want to know more. And I'm very, very happy to share this, because this is my passion and I would like everybody to experience and to understand it. So yeah, feel free to contact me. Absolutely.
And what's the best way for people to contact you?
Well, I am on Facebook, which is Eleonoraquinti, my name and surname, or I have Instagram, but it's holisticelevolution. Email is also a good way, which is my name and surname, eleonoraquinti@yahoo.co.uk.
Okay.
Yeah,
so if you could send me those links, then I'll post them in the description of this video, and I'll put them in the YouTube, and you know, as well.
It would be a pleasure to.
Okay. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and Eleonora, thank you so much for today, and for obviously, you know, sessions you've done with me as well. Really appreciate the work that you do. Very grateful. And also the new Coffee Diaries t-shirts, they will be on sale soon. So they're you got to get them while they're in stock, because they're going to go really quickly.
Yeah, so get them while you can, the new Coffee Diaries t-shirt. And Eleonora Ade, I think this show, like always, encompasses we're still learning. So much came out, so much information, learned so much. So thank you very much, Eleonora. And yeah, I mean, if you want to, how will they get in contact with you, Eleonora, about the moon meditations?
Yes, as I said to Ade, they can contact me on Facebook or Instagram or email, and I will send him the details. And yeah, the full moon that we do is every month, every full moon, and I do the group session, and it's very powerful. It's very powerful. So they can ask me about that. They can inquire about that. Next one will be on the 16th this month.
Okay. Yeah, I joined for one of them, where I watched the recording. And
yes.
Yeah, found out Ron speaks a little bit of Italian, which I was impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah, also this we usually do half Italian, half English as well, which is kind of a fun thing to do as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed that part of it too. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
very much. Thank you for everybody here. People from all over the world today. Was it Bali, London, New York, Prague? So thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Grand Rising. Thank you, Eleonora. Grand Rising, Brother Ade.
Grand Rising. Thank you, everyone.